Um, um, 1 minute, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. There was a question of Sudevi Mataji.
Yes, there was one question from Sudev Sakhi Mataji.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Vijay Prabhuji, can you start YouTube? Okay. So, shall we take yesterday's question first, Prabhuji?
Whatever, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Sudev Sakhi Mataji, you can.
Mataji is not on.
Mataji is not on the call. Okay. Question from Mataji was, who is Srimati Narayani Devi?
So Narayani Devi is actually niece of Srivastava. She was the object of Lord Chaitanya's special mercy. And Vrindavan Thakur was actually son of Narayani Devi.
Prabhuji, we can't hear you, Prabhuji.
The author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Thakur, he's actually son of Narayani Devi, and Narayani was the niece of Srivastava Thakur, the daughter of one of his brothers.
And Prabhuji, can I ask one follow-up question on that?
Sure, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, yesterday we read that at the request of Srimati Narayani Devi, the name of the book from Chaitanya Mangala, it was changed to Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, can you elaborate that past time, Prabhuji, more?
Actually, originally, when Vrindavan Thakur wrote this book, his name was Chaitanya Mangal. But then Lochandas Thakur also wrote a book called Chaitanya Mangal. So seeing this, I think perhaps that was the reason why, the Vaishnavas suggested that the name should be changed from Chaitanya Mangal to Chaitanya Bhagavat. Because Chaitanya Mangal is actually a brief summary of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes by Lochandas Thakur. It doesn't have elaborate, pastime, but Chaitanya Bhagavat is actually very elaborately describing Lord Chaitanya's pastime, especially before taking sannyas. So it was appropriately named as Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Sure. Thank you. Radhakund Mataji, you can ask question.
I don't know whether I'm asking a right question, Prabhuji, because I have heard the glories of you yesterday. How does Vastu plays an important role, especially in devotees' life, when devotees are dependent on Krishna? I mean, I know that we are not completely surrendered souls to Krishna, but still, as practicing devotees, we think that we are completely dependent on Krishna only, right? So, I have read in so many purports of Srila Prabhupada that when devotees, Krishna consciousness is especially beyond everything, right? So, how do I understand this, Prabhuji? Can you please explain?
Yes, definitely. Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any of the, factors which are material by nature. But the principles, of Varnashram are something very universal. Take a simple example. For example, if I want to, say, drive my car on the road, right? I have to get the car registered with the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle, right? I can say it's my car. I paid full money for it. I'm paying taxes. I have paid the property tax on the vehicle as well. Why I need to get registered? Okay. Because there is a law. Law has been set by the state administration that every vehicle must be registered. And there is a purpose behind it. They want to know if there's in case of any accident and all, they see the number plate and all, and they can know who the person's, this vehicle belongs to, and they can notify, or in case of some criminal activity, they can find out. who was the person who actually had the vehicle registered under their name. So in this way, the laws that are set by the government, they have some purpose. Similarly, the God's government, the universal government, this is, we are talking about our city or state or country government, right? Which has some sensibility, right? It's not that without sensibility they have put these laws in place. Similarly, the universal administration also is conducted by the servants of Krishna, the demigods. Devas, Asuras, together they all actually do the administration of the universe. So since we feel obliged to follow the laws of our state or our country or our city, we know if we don't follow, we'll get into trouble. We become criminal, and we will definitely have consequences. Similarly, the universal government of the God, the Lord, and his servants is something that we need to take in consideration. If we do not follow, then we become criminal. We become criminal in the eyes of the universal administrators. And then, Krishna is not going to tell them, okay, no, don't bother them until unless, if it's a minor thing, Krishna can adjust. But Krishna in general does not interfere with the administration of the devas. So when we talk about Krishna consciousness does not depend on anything, yes, it does not depend on anything. So your Krishna consciousness should not be hindered if you are determined. But other things will be hindered. And Krishna will in general, will not interfere with the demigod's administration. So if we neglected certain laws, the demigods give us some reactions of that. Krishna will in general not interfere with that. So if a person is prepared, yes, I can, go through any consequences. Let anything happen in my life, I will not give up Krishna consciousness. I'm not going to stop practicing Krishna consciousness. Then definitely you don't need any, the rules to follow if you are determined. But the very fact, if something little goes wrong in our life, right, we can get, the first thing gets impacted is our spiritual practices, sadhana. Right. So therefore, it is, crucial that we try to follow as much as possible the laws of the universal administration by the devas. And that is what actually all Varnashram is all about. Prabhupada wanted Varnashram to be established. Prabhupada left the legacy saying that the 50% of his mission was to establish Varnashram. So that Varnashram is nothing but living in harmony or sync with the universal administration of the devas. So,
Yes,
say for simple example, in the morning when we go to use bathroom, okay, if you are facing especially the sun, that is eastern direction, and evacuating, that is considered highly disrespectful towards Surya. This is there in Ramayana, you'll find, Bharat is actually taking oath. He's actually speaking in front of Mother Kaushalya. He's talking about Pataki. Pataki means the sinners of the first grade, those who are the topmost sinners. One of them he's also counting as the people who actually face sun and evacuate. So the consequence of that is, natural consequence of that is the person becomes atheistic. His intelligence starts becoming polluted because he's disrespecting Surya, one of the vibhuti of the Lord. And also, person develops a lot of diseases. So diseases and pollution of intelligence is the natural consequence of evacuating, facing east in the morning and facing west in the evening. So if a person has bathroom orientation in a home where, in the morning or evening you're facing east and west, then definitely you will have consequences. The intelligence will be polluted, health problems will come. And it happens with devotees also. And not that because I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, therefore I should be forgiven. So it's our responsibility in the human form of life to understand the laws and follow it, At the same time, try to practice Krishna consciousness to get out of this material existence.
So Krishna conscious only helps in coming out of this life, I mean, birth and death cycle, but does not help in other things like, we have to obey the rules.
No, it doesn't help. It actually uproots all the problems. If you're going back home, back to God, your health problem, your financial, everything is solved, right?
After
it
going back.
It uproots all the problems for sure. There's no doubt about it. No? And to the degree a person is surrendered to Krishna, to that degree Krishna provides him guidance. So all this science is nothing but guidance. So Vaishnava Acharya, like Srila Prabhupada, nobody has to really tell him. It will be natural for him to follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. Now, a simple example for giving example, you'll find in Prabhupada's pastimes, many of the disciples mentioned that Prabhupada avoided to travel on Thursdays and Ekadashis. Now, it may be new for people, who never heard, but in our family, I know from our childhood, my mother was so, insistent that Thursdays, we should not cut our nails, we should not cut our hair, we should not even sweep or mop the floor in the home on Thursdays. Because Thursday is considered the day of Guru. So the minimum you do, the activities which create violence, like, if you're mopping the floor or sweeping the floor, you kill so many, say ants or some living entities. You end up in killing them. So on Thursdays, if you do especially, then you deprive yourself from the blessings of Guru. And we know what is the significance of the blessings of Guru. Especially those who know Vedic astrology, they know the Guru. If a person has all the planets, badly placed, but it's just one Guru is placed very well, the person will actually come out from all the difficulties in life. So these are the significance. So Prabhupada was naturally following it, and people say, oh, Prabhupada was avoiding to travel on Thursdays, so there must be some significance. But Prabhupada must be avoiding so many things on Thursdays and Ekadashis, which they may not have noticed. But Prabhupada is not going to tell all those small details. Those details come in as part of Varnashram system.
Yeah,
I hope that
Prabhuji.
makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, because actually I'm I'm not that particular about all this because I didn't even know that all these things. But my Prabhu is very, very particular about Vastu and all that. So I have a request also, Prabhuji, because my Prabhu has seen a house and he was not able to decide anything. And he
we can take it offline. We can take it offline.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So yeah, Prabhuji. So
You can.
Yeah, I have sent it everything to you, Prabhuji. So please check it. And we are dependent on you completely. My Prabhu said only one thing. Suddenly I asked a question yesterday night and everything in between Krishna entered. That's what my Prabhu is saying. See, Krishna somehow entered in between because we are in dilemma. We don't know. So whatever Prabhu says, we are just going with that. So Prabhuji, we are completely depending on you, Prabhuji, because you are not just an astrologer or Vastu, but you are a devotee, Prabhuji. So we want to hear from you as a Krishna's word.
We will connect.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, follow up to that, you said that we should not face east and west while educating. So many times we stay in hotels, but we don't know what the Vastu is of that, means their room, washrooms, and we do use that. So what's about that, Prabhuji?
But when you're going to hotel and all, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 nights, right? You're not going for staying month and so. Okay. So it's just always advisable to know the directions, especially when you're checking in the evening and all. That little bit. Or nowadays everybody has smartphones, So at least if you know that in the morning you're not facing the east while evacuating, you should be good. We are not going to spend the whole, lot of time in that hotel or hotel rooms.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, there are 2 questions from Narottam Vilas Prabhuji. But he has to, I think he has hard stop at 7:30, so he dropped off, but he asked us to take those questions. So the first question is, it was from yesterday's reading, it seems, 3.15.3. So he's asking like how Lord Brahma is unaffected by time.
How Lord Brahma is
Unaffected by time.
unaffected by time. Well, it's not the absolute statement that Brahma is not affected by time. Brahma is affected by time because Brahma's life also comes to an end. But in general, when you say Brahma is not affected by time, in the sense that, it could be relative in our terms, because we get affected by, the number of years on the earthly calculation. Within 50, 60 or 70, at the most 100 years, our life is finished. From birth to death, everything happens within 100 years. But those 100 years, Brahma is not affected much. Doesn't affect in practically apparently any way to him. In that sense, you can say not affected, but Brahma is affected by time because his life duration is being reduced with the passage of every moment. Brahma also has to die at the end. So it's not an absolute statement that Brahma doesn't get affected by time. It's relative in our terms, but he does get affected.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Prabhuji,
Sure.
I just want to add, wanted to add this, that in today morning there was a purport given by Prabhupada. From there it was the written that Brahmaji is not influenced by time. There was a purport in, I think, 3:14 in Bhagavatam.
Can we read that statement? Sachin Haripu, can you just...
Let me open that, Prabhuji. Just a minute. 3:15.3. Okay. Sachin Maga, Prabhuji, do you know specifically where? Okay. Okay. I'm sharing, Prabhuji. I think I got that. Just
Okay. Sure.
Okay. I'm reading whole purport, but it's a small purport. Brahma is addressed herein as Vibhu and as the personality of Godhead. He is the supreme personality of Godhead's incarnation of the mode of passion in the material world. He is non-different and in representative sense from the supreme personality of Godhead, and therefore the influence of time cannot affect him. The influence of time, which manifests as past, present, and future, cannot touch higher personalities like Brahma and the other demigods. Sometimes demigods and great sages who have attained such perfection are called Trikaladnya.
Okay. So this is in a different context Prabhupada is talking about. Prabhupada is not making an absolute statement that Brahma is not affected by time. Because he's a personality of, he's incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the mode of passion. In that way, Brahma does not experiences the influence of time as every living entity experiences. So, in that sense, yes, Brahma is not affected by time. It's actually a relative statement. It's not absolute statement. But Brahma does get affected by time. That's the conclusion we understand from this.
Influence of time means the old age and disease, like that, or Prabhupada is telling something?
Eventually, the old age sometime may not be experienced by the devas or the personalities from the higher planetary systems. But birth and death is the absolute influence of time on every living entity, to which even Brahma is not an exception. So that's the influence of time, and that influence of time is not present in the spiritual world. There is no birth, there is no death. So in absolute sense, time means which brings birth and death, that kind of transformation. And of course, the threefold miseries, adhyatmika, adi bhautika, and adi devic miseries. In general, a person who is free from those three also is considered, not influenced by time. So everyone in this world does face adhyatmika, adi bhautika, and adi devic miseries, right? But people in higher realms, especially like Brahma or some of the demigods, they don't experience that adhyatmika, adi bhautika. They are, adi deva. They are actually devas. They create miseries for others, but they don't really experience any misery.
Prabhuji, can I ask one follow-up question?
Sure.
In this purport, they talk about Trikalagnya, right? So who is Trikalagnya? Is he liberated person is Trikalagnya, or Trikalagnya is different? Means person can be Trikalagnya yet not liberated. How do we understand Trikalagnya?
Trikalagya means a person who knows past, present, and future. So in one way, you can say every self-realized soul does more or less become Trikalagya. But here, the Trikalagya specifically refers to a person who can know the past, present, and future of anyone. So Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, they are all called Trikalagya. All three of them, they know past, present, and future. And some of the sages like, Vyasdev or, Narada, they are also Trikalagya because they know past, present, and future.
When we say about future, is it like limited to soul's future or Jiva's like that lifetime future or like that complete?
Trikalagya means a person who can know everyone's future in them.
Oh, okay.
Not just one or two persons, everyone's future. And he knows their past as well. So that is Trikalagya. So sages like Narada, they are Trikalagya. Because, Narada Muni, like for example, he goes to Vrindavan to see Krishna and he's describing, my Lord, now I will see you will go to Mathura, you will kill Kamsa, then you will get married to 16,000 wives, you will kill this demon, kill that demon. He's describing all the future. And he knows past as well. He's describing to Vyasdev his previous life as a maid servant, which is from another kalpa, another day of Brahma. So therefore, Narada Muni is also considered one of the Trikalagyas.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Just a follow-up question, Prabhuji. Means just to understand this clearly, Trikalagnya means in this purport is Prabhupada saying they don't have a impact of time because they understand the future, past and present. So there is so because the impact of past, present, and future does not impact them.
So that is what I mentioned, that it's actually a self-realized soul who understands that I'm not this body, I am spirit soul. So even the body is getting impacted, but the person, the soul within the body is not getting impacted because he knows, he identifies himself with spirit soul, a part of Krishna. So in that sense, the person never gets influenced. I remember in this regard another anecdote. I think Atmadatta Prabhu, he was mentioning in one of the lectures that many people used to approach him because he knows astrology. So, sometimes somebody would approach him, person who's new to Krishna consciousness, he would approach him. Or a person who's not devotee sometimes would approach to him, that can you tell me my future. You say, yeah, I can look at your hand and tell you. So you'll take the hand and say, you are going to grow old and eventually die. This is your future. So in one way, every Vaishnava, every devotee who learns the principles, the science of Krishna consciousness, he knows the future. Everyone in this world is going to grow old and die. Sometimes the scientists, they may bluff that, oh, we'll find some remedy for the death. But a devotee knows there is no remedy to the death. Everybody must grow old and die, and may also become diseased. Okay. So in that sense, everyone's future is known. You can actually take anyone's palm and tell them. With confidence, you can tell them the future. And this is the future of every living entity. Everyone grows old, everyone becomes diseased, everyone must die. Okay. So in that way, every devotee is actually Trikalagya. But here, Trikalagya specifically means one who may be aware of the details of everyone's life. So because the devotee, a self-realized soul especially, who understands that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, not only understand, but he realizes this. Therefore, there is no influence of time on it. Anyone near and dear one dies in the family, he knows the soul is gone away from my vision, but the person is going to live somewhere in some form. So it doesn't get really affected by the influence of time. Even birth and death doesn't cause any impact or change in his consciousness. I hope that makes sense, bro.
Sure, Prabhu. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anastya Mataji, you can ask question now.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I had this question regarding what you mentioned earlier. I was wondering, to which extent do we need to learn things like Ayurveda, Vastu, and this type of...
Actually, it's not that everyone has to learn this. It's just like, if I need the help from a lawyer, not that I have to learn the law. I can hire the services from the lawyer. If I need to have the help from a doctor, I can go to doctor and take their help. I don't have to learn, how the medical science works. So similarly, even the sciences like Vastu and astrology or Ayurveda, it's not that we have to know. We may know some basics from day to day to function, but not that we have to know the details. Therefore, in Varnashram society, generally there would be some Brahmanas or some people who are learned in those sciences, and they would offer their services to people. So it's not compulsory for everyone to know that science, but some basic things are required to know. Just like, say for example, if I get fever, a regular flu fever, not that I keep running to doctor. We never used to do that in childhood. When a small fever comes, you just take some home remedy and you are all right. Or similarly, if I need to find out when is Ekadashi, not that I need to run to a Brahmana to find out when is Ekadashi. We just know the calendar, Panchanga. So these are basic few things which we should know in general, but when there's specific need of help, then we go to some specialist who actually knows the science.
Because like in my case, I've been moving a lot, and every time we move, I start looking at the book of Vastu and start again reminding myself where and where it's supposed to be. Then try to change it home to according to my abilities, to paint the walls or move some things. But like just now, you gave this example about the restroom, and I just said, oh, that's how it is in our restroom. It's the worst position ever, and now it is. What can I do with it? Like we cannot change it. All this.
In such cases, it's a very simple adjustment we need to do. As I said, even we have, one of the bathrooms in two bathrooms in our home facing east. So when you're using the bathroom, you just adjust the position in such a way that you don't face the east direction. So you turn towards left or right and use the restroom. So a small adjustment doesn't really require the whole bathroom to change. When we are in such a situation, we can just make some adjustments like that. So, and then, the devas, the demigods, the administrators of the universe, they are persons. We should know that they are also persons. Like all of us, we are persons. They are also persons. So if we are actually putting a conscious endeavor, trying to avoid something that is not, respectful to them, they understand. So even if, if I, as Mati is asking, if we go to some hotel and I didn't realize which direction it was, if we use, they're not going to get hard on us. Because they are person. They know that we consciously try to avoid something that is not to be done. Okay. Like, even if I'm driving on, and if I have very clean record, I never got a ticket. I've been driving for 20 years. And if I happen to speed up and the cop comes and he says, sir, you were speeding up. Sorry, I had to use some excuse you give, which seems to be valid excuse. He understands that this person has clean record and never had any violation. He may even let you go. It happens, right? So,
yes.
so therefore, similarly, the devas also, the universal administrators also are persons, are people. They don't get hard on person for 1 or 2 times violation. But the whole idea that we should be conscious. The meaning of becoming Krishna conscious means we are conscious of everything we do in our life.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you so much for your answer. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there is one more question from Narottam Vilas Prabhuji. So can we take that, Prabhuji?
Sure.
So second question from him is, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, what does DwiVachana and Bahu Vachan mean?
DwiVachana and
Bahu Vachan. We read that, Prabhuji, in Chaitanya Bhagavat reading today. Let me share, Prabhuji.
Okay. Probably could have missed it. Could you read that? What was it? DwiVachana and Bahu. I think I understand in general in Sanskrit there is, DwiVachana and Bahu Vachan. So it's when it says Ajanu Lambito Bhujao. Oh, Bhujao. So ends with O means that is DwiVachana. So Ajanu Lambito Bhujao Kanakavadhatu Sankirtanaika Pitaro. Again it comes Pitaro. Oh, so that means there are 2 fathers. Pitara means father and Pitaro means 2 fathers.
Yeah.
So Sankirtanaika Pitara Kamalaya Vishwambharo. Again comes Vishwambharo. It's not Vishwambhara, it's Vishwambharo. 2 Vishwambharas, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Dvijavaro. Again, Varo. There are 2, Vara means superior or best, and Varo means 2 personalities who are superior or best. Dvijavaro. So 2 Brahmanas, 2 best of the Dvijas. Dvijavaro. Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Vishwambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo. Again, Palo also is indicating DwiVachana. So entire verse is actually indicating 2 personalities, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Yeah. I think that is what he's referring to, right?
Yeah, this is the highlighted one here, Prabhuji.
In the same description, I mean, if somebody has long hands, I mean, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they have long hands stretching till the knees. So that is an indication of a great personality. So is that true in an ordinary sense also? Some people who may be a pious person, so it has spiritual significance, or it's just a material pious thing that is being mentioned here? Of course, in case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is clearly indicates that it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in general, when you see persons with long hands and then good character, so I mean, how should we understand that?
Sorry, but could you repeat your question? I was reading this sentence, so I didn't pay attention.
Yeah. So here in these descriptions, right? I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the long hands stretching till the knees. So
Yeah.
that indication of a great personality. So does this greatness has the spiritual? I mean, does it indicate only the spiritual significance, or in general, when somebody is a material person, and he may be a material pious person, and he may be having these indications of the bodily, uh, bodily symptoms. So, I mean, just want to understand: is it a material or spiritual indication?
It's actually both, the combination of both.
Okay.
It's not just material, it's also material and spiritual as well. So the symptoms that are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially purpose, I think Bhakti Thakur is quoting here, from Adi Leela. So, I think there are 32 symptoms of great personality mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So all those symptoms actually indicate a person who is materially also going to be very influential, great, and also a spiritually exalted person.
Okay.
But if there are only certain symptoms, not all the 32, but there are only certain symptoms visible in the body of a person, then it could be only some material aspects, because every symptom would indicate some special aspect of the person, some exalted aspect of person in the material sense. But all the aspects exalted generally is going to be a powerful spiritual personality as well.
Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be a combination of many things then.
Yes. Like say, for example, some parts are deep, like the voice of the person is deep. That means his voice can actually touch the hearts of people. His navel is deep. Navel deep indicates a person will have, because navel is directly related to the voice as well. The person whose navel is deep, because mostly the navel is the origination of voice or sound vibration. So a person who has deep navel means a person will speak, from the navel or from the heart. So that the sound of such a person is generally very deep and resounding. When he speaks, it actually touches the heart of people. Similarly, one of the 32 symptoms is some parts of the body are smaller. So that also signifies, like genitals are considered smaller. That's considered a good sign that a person will have not much passion for or attraction towards sex life. That means he'll be more saintly in conduct. Will be able to follow the principles of brahmacharya, and a person who actually follows the principle of brahmacharya, he can actually focus more in spirituality. So these are certain symptoms, which directly indicate the person's mental or psychological, orientation as well.
Thank you, Prabhu. And I have one more follow-up on demigods glorifying Lord Brahma. If anybody else have any questions, after that I will take.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock, Prabhuji. So shall we take that follow-up, Prabhuji, now, or
I think maybe one last question we can take. Is there? I think 1 minute still left, so we can take one question.
Okay, Prabhuji. So Rambo, Prabhuji, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So in those prayers, demigods were saying that Lord Brahmaji also has the entire creation is within him. So those kind of statements were used. So does that indicate the creation, the material creation is within him? So does that indicate some, the seed form of the material universe, or the intelligence to manifest this universe, or how does?
Prabhupada does mention this, that this whole universe is actually considered in one way the body of Brahma as well. This Brahma's form is actually 6 cubits, right, of every person's body is considered 6 cubits. So this whole universe, the measurement of this universe is actually the 6 cubits of Brahma's form. So Brahma, in general, will also have a smaller form, but his whole universe is nothing but the expansion of his form. He's the creator, right? So he's the one who has actually, everything is expanded from his personal body. Like in the sense, even a child is considered the expansion of the father, right? Because the father is the one who gives the seed. So seed giving father, and therefore every child is considered the expansion of the father. So similarly, because Brahma is the creator of the everything in the creation, it's nothing but more or less expansion of his form.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. But generally, there is no controllability, right? I mean, we have a son, but the son may not obey us.
But that's not the case with Brahma. Brahma is the one who writes destination of everyone. He's called Vidhi. Vidhi means Vidhata, who writes everyone's destiny, including the demon like Hiranyakashipu. As soon as he born, Brahma writes his destiny, when he will die, and how he will die.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. I understand that. I was thinking Brahma as an instrument, just as an instrument, but he has these powers also.
Yeah. Brahma is actually, when you say Shaktya Vishavatar, means he has the Vibhuti of the Lord. Therefore, he's called Vidhata. If he writes something, it has to transpire. In a very rare occasion, Krishna may interfere. Krishna generally doesn't interfere with Brahma's written destiny for everyone.
Maybe that could be the reason when Brahmaji gives some benedictions, Lord also obeys in many cases.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for
Really. Then we can stop here. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah. Vancha kalpataru.